reimagined. Like we said, there's already been one game in the books. It was a doozy. Kat Osterman and her team, Team Warren, with a win. To talk more about that and what to expect later on in this one, let's go to my partner, Danielle Laurie. Danielle, your thoughts on what we saw and what we can expect here in game number 2.
Well, I loved what we saw in game number 1. We saw some of these athletes, you look at like Kat Osterman coming out and just shining. But what I love is that every single thing matters. It's not just the winning or losing. It's really focusing on winning that inning and executing the little things of getting that sack to be able to advance that runner. And I love that part of the game because for me, it just shows that every single thing you do matters, opposed to just strictly winning or losing. Personal performance matters, and it just puts a bigger emphasis on the game. And that's why it's a lot of fun to be able to tune in and watch these different things happen for these athletes. And you got the best of the best folks, so I couldn't be more humbled to be on the call with Eric to witness this.
This is the inaugural weekend of what will be a fast and furious season. In total, there were 30 games played throughout the course of 5 weeks. Every game will be played on a Saturday, a Sunday, or a Monday, doubleheaders each day. So we will have unbridled access to the best athletes in the world over this next month. Well, before we play softball, let's hear a special message from Kenny Mayne.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to be a part of this. My experience softball, I was an umpire of girls softball in about 9th grade. Very liberal strike zone, so that applies here as well.
Oh. Oh, wow. Maybe that was a quality Frisbee form, but I don't know. Danielle, your thoughts on Kenny Mayne's delivery?
Yeah, no bueno. I'm going to have to give him some Zoom pointers. Maybe we'll set up a Zoom call after this and
So Haley Wagner, who had the most points in the scrimmages, was captain number 1. She got the first overall pick. And oh, by the way, the former Michigan Wolverine picked another Michigan Wolverine in Amanda Chidister. She will now face off against Nicole Dewitt. Dewitt, Shelby Pendley, Savannah Jaquish to bat here in the top of the first inning for Team Pendley. We are live in Rosemont, Illinois, Parkway Bank Sports Complex, game number 2 of a 30-game season. Nicole Dewitt takes called strike 1. Dewitt's used to getting off to good starts. Freshman year in college, won a national championship. In her very first at-bat as a pro, she hit a home run. Now her very first at-bat, playing for Athletes Unlimited. 0-2. Now, what we saw in game number 1 was a pitcher's duel and then a slugfest. It was a 1-0 game until the 5th inning. And then a 10-run 5th inning by Team Warren. Team Fagan was able to punch across 3 runs in the 6th inning, so both teams started to figure out the hitting game a couple of times through the lineup. Little popper on the infield, calling for it and making the play is Chidister. So the ball was thrown by Wagner and it's caught by Chidister, both Michigan Wolverines. Somewhere Hutch smiling. Here's Shelby Pendley. Shelby Pendley was a dynamic college player at Oklahoma, but if you haven't seen her since, she's gotten bigger and stronger and better. She's played pro ball for the last 4 years and has led the NPF in homers, was most outstanding offensive player. That's one of the great things, Danielle Laurie, about this league is wonderful college players get a chance to actually play in their physical prime.
Exactly, and that's something I learned that from Michelle Smith. I mean, she was so big on, like, the older you get, you just continue to get better because you have better body awareness, you understand stuff, you understand pressure better, and it couldn't be more true that Shelby Pendley is definitely was one of the best in college, but has gotten so much better afterwards because she understands the workload that needs to be put in to be at the best, but also can slice that time to make it happen. So I love the experienced players that are in this league, and they're experienced because they've put in the work in their younger days, but they get it even more now.
Shelby Pendley, 84 home runs as a college player, 7th all-time. Began her college experience Arizona and then finished off playing for Patty Gasso out in Oklahoma. She's familiar with this ballpark here, Parkway Bank Sports Complex. This is one of the main hubs for National Pro Fast Pitch, where she played for 5 seasons. Pendley's now 27 years of age. But age just a number. We saw in game number 1, Kat Osterman at 37 throw 5 shutout innings and pick up the win. 3-2. Looped into center field. Heading out the second baseman, and Flippin can't make the play. If anyone's going to get to that ball, it's Hannah Flippin, and it's just past her glove.
First baseman, 27, Savannah Jakewish.
Yeah, you're right. If anyone's going to be able to get this ball, I think it would be Flippin, but I also think Jazmyn Jackson needs to make a better effort in center to just kind of call her off because she had the ability to be able to lay out if she wanted, and I think that Jackson would have been able to make that play.
Here's Savannah Jakewish. Smoked into center field, sinking line drive. On one hop, Jackson up with it. It is a solid single for Jakewish. So back-to-back singles, Pendley and Jakewish. And that means back-to-back points for Pendley and Jakewish. Singles are worth 10 points, doubles 20, triples 30, and homers 40 points. Those are just some of the ways that you can earn points in this league. Each week, the players with the most points in the 3 games they play are the captains for the next week's round of games. Here's Nadia Taylor. No one takes a healthier hack than Nadia. It's always been the case. 1 ball and 1 strike. Former Texas Longhorn, 2-sport athlete. Played basketball when she was down in Austin. Little nubber. It's going to be a tough play for Sanchez, and Amanda Sanchez up to the task. That'll work as a sacrifice, even though it's not scored as one. It is a 5-3 putout, and now 2 runners in scoring position for Team Pendley.
And Sanchez kind of makes this play look easy, and Taylor not a ton of speed up the line, so I think that's why Sanchez made that look a little easier than someone that has some good speed.
Sachel Palacios lifts it deep to left field, going back, looking up. Wiggins has to play it off the wall. 2-run score. It is a 2-out, 2-run single for Palacios. Well, not taking any time at all is Team Pendley. They're going up and hacking.
And that could be one of the longest singles I think I've seen in quite some time. And I love it. Goes with this curveball. That is a beautiful piece of hitting on this pitch. Stays with it. Hits the wall pretty close to being out of here, but sadly it's only a single.
So an early 2-0 lead for Team Pendley. Teams win points for winning individual innings. So right now, Team Wagner is going to have to score at least 2 points or 2 runs, or Team Pendley is going to have themselves an inning 1, which means 10 points to every person on the team, all 14 members. Here's Nicole Pendley, team captain, younger of the 2 sisters, Shelby and Nicole. If you're a Pendley and you go to OU, you win a national championship, apparently. Both Pendley sisters getting it done.
Not once, but twice. It's a special category. And Team Pendley is coming out hacking. Every single young lady that has stepped up to the plate has just been taking their hacks.
Already 3 hits in the inning, all of them singles. On the ground, smothered by Urtez, who taps the bag with her glove, and the side is retired. But damage done. Already 2 runs on the board for Team Pendley. Jessica Burrows delivers a ball that is hammered into left field. Hannah Flippin with some anger. Leadoff single on the first pitch she sees here for Athletes Unlimited.
When Jessica Burrows played at Florida State. And I think, honestly, if I'm a pitcher right now in this league, I'm looking at these hitters coming out right out of the gate, swinging at the first couple pitches.
Megan Wiggins swings at the first pitch and bounces out to the second baseman, Clifton. 1 down runner in scoring position in Flippin.
The designated player, number 3, Samantha.
And Burrows is kind of throws that ball all over the place, has that rise, change, curve, and drop. Doesn't throw it as hard as some will think, but her movement is up there with Kat, where it is just so deceptive in how she can get that ball to break. She's been working on that consistency with her changeup, because I think she knows this league and how important that piece is to the puzzle to have success here, because these hitters are too good to rely on just kind of the norm repertoire of pitches. You really have to figure out different ways to pitch to them. And like I was saying, these hitters coming off swinging and hacking right away, I'd almost pitch completely backwards to them, whether it's I got to throw off-speed changeup right off the bat, something to just get them off guard, because it's contagious, right? You got a couple that are just swinging, Hannah Flippin first pitch, and so I would try to kind of pitch them backwards a little bit and get in their heads.
Howe shows bunt, gets it down. Burrows, no play. Oh, a sneak attack out of the number 3 hitter. Laced down a bunt, and it's a single. Flippin moves over to third, and there are runners on at the corners.
When I really think it's a comfort thing, too, knowing how comfortable a pitcher is throwing the ball. So Howe sees Jaquish is back at first, but knows Burrows' comfort level with being able to make that boom, boom throw. And honestly, there's a lot of pitchers that do struggle throwing the ball overhand. Going underhand, getting that ball back sometimes is a little bit, and can get a little bit in your head. And Howe executed on that.
Well, here is the big dog, Amanda Chidister, the number 1 overall pick in the draft that was held on Wednesday. She was a wonderful college player as an All-American at Michigan, and folks, she has gotten exponentially better as a pro. She's played for Team USA. Last year, she played National Pro Fast Pitch, and she was the Player of the Year. She can mash, 30 years of age.
And I don't think if they have that MPF and she does what she does last summer, that she's on the 2020 Olympic roster. I think that was a platform for her to prove everyone wrong, right? That's constantly been her MO. She's always been great, but has she been great enough to be on Team USA? I think she has, but she put in that work last year, and this summer was a great opportunity for her to just say, hey, there's no pressure here. Like, I just need to go and do what I do and let the hard work play itself out. That's exactly what happened. She proved to USA that we can't not choose her.
3-2. Amanda Chidister from Detroit, Michigan. Oh, got her with an off-speed pitch. That's the out that Jessica Burrows needed.
Such a pretty changeup. Stick that in the memory bank if you're Burrows. And I love it. What a good angle. Look at the rotation. It is a knuckle change. Amazing footage from our crew to be able to get that. You see that ball is barely rotating, and that's what makes her knuckle changeup so difficult to hit.
So now a big out for Burrows to get. There are 2 outs, runners on at the corners. Amanda Sanchez is the batter. If Team Wagner cannot score, that means the team points for winning the inning are going to go to Team Pendley. One ball and 1 strike to Sanchez. Right back to Burrows, bobbles it still with time and throws high, and it's going to be everyone safe. A run scores, and moving over to third goes Howe. Oh, Burrows had all sorts of time, and she still rushed it, and a run scores for Team Wagner.
When she gets this comebacker and takes her eye off for a second, and this is what's difficult about this, because in my opinion, when I have someone at first base, they are the rock, right? So like my MO growing up in the house, you touch it, you catch it. That was my dad's MO, and he would get so frustrated at my brother and I, but that's always been when I have someone at first base. Like, you know, sometimes I bounce it, but if you touch it, you catch it, and I think sometimes that's what makes it first base. People seem to think that could be the easiest position, and I almost think it's the hardest.
This should end the inning. Bouncing ball right side, Clifton to Pendley, and the side is retired. Everyone on Team Pendley gets 10 team points, and we played the second. It'll be the bottom third of the order. Kaylee Clifton, Mandy Perez, and A.J. Andrews, all batting against Haley Wagner, who is the captain of Team Wagner. And I think she's going to always want to be in that #1 spot and wear that blue uniform, because that is very similar to the maize and blue that she wore when she played for the Michigan Wolverines.
You're right. It looks pretty similar to me. She's got her buddy over there at first and Chidi. Little flashback.
We will show you that leaderboard frequently throughout the course of the broadcast, because this is not just a game that's talking about the score for individual teams, but it's also the point total for individual players, which means something not only for captaincy and selection of your team, but it also means something for cash. One of the ways the women are getting paid is by splitting up money based on point totals. 2-0. Kaylee Clifton, the batter. Hard but foul.
And I love how we're praising personal performance, right? Like the MVP, there's 3 of them. 60, 40, 20 is how it's totaled points-wise. But you think about this game in college that you don't necessarily want to just talk personal performance. You always want to talk wins. But if you have someone out that goes out, Chidi goes out and goes 4 for 4 with 3 bombs, like that could be cash in my wallet, and that's a big deal. So I think that this Athletes Unlimited League and what that brings to the table is that these women can accept the fact that it's okay for us to have that extra swagger because we do well. We should never shy away from that, and I don't know why we ever have, because we put in the same amount of work as everyone else, and I think it's important to be able to be proud of that and to be able to continue to just talk about it.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Clifton. Got her to chase. Off-speed pitch, a thing of beauty. Out #1. Fans want to get even closer to the game? Become a member of the Unlimited Club to cast votes for player MVPs and have access to our members-only dugout camera. Learn more about the Unlimited Club by visiting auprosports.com and clipping join in the upper right of the page. First ball swinging, little nubber. Perez fielded beautifully, and what a play made by Amanda Sanchez. It's an out at first base that maybe only Amanda Sanchez and a couple other third basemen could have made. So 2 outs, top of the second inning. A.J. Andrews lifts this one to right field, easy play. Morgan Howe makes the squeeze, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Bottom of the second inning, Team Pendley leads Team Wagner 2-1. Here's a mic'd up moment presented by Sparta Science.
Do you have microphones that you guys are talking to each other on? That's a good ball. Good job, Sash. Hey, we still won the inning, right? So? We'll get it back.
Shelby Pendley, 27-year-old, doing some talking. One of the cool things that we've got coming your way all season long. I think it's fantastic that we have these great athletes who have done it in every single level, now being put in a totally different environment and maybe outside their comfort zone a little bit and trying to figure out what these points mean and how to play this game at a different level.
Well, and Shelby Pendley's an old soul in my eyes. You know, she's experienced so much, won a national championship, has played in this U.S. Pro League, brings a lot to the table. But at the end of the day, you still want to be able to have someone on your team that can just calm the nerves, get the emotions in check, be able to hold people to that higher standard. Because yes, this is individual and we all want to do well, but at the end of the day, you do better when you win as a team and you win the inning. So to have someone that can keep everyone in check and just the little things of whether it's a comment of like, hey, you're all good, we still won the inning, it's going to be okay, I think allows for you to just take that deep breath and be like, yeah, you're right, I'm going to be okay.
Anissa Urtez, number 7 hitter in the lineup. Urtez, Monroe, and Jackson to bat against Jessica Burrows. Team Wagner scored a run in their half of the first inning. It came on an error by the pitcher Burrows, who threw high to first, allowing Flippin to score from third. Hannah Flippin and Anissa Urtez were teammates and did wonderful things together at Utah, now reunited on Team Wagner. Burrows strikes out Urtez.
And that down pitch in the zone. And Burrows, to the young women that are watching, Burrows is the prime example of you don't need to throw the ball 70 miles an hour. You need to learn how to make it spin and be able to hit corners and focus on that. I mean, that pitch is coming in at 58 miles an hour. And there's a lot of, you know, young pitchers that see that and get discouraged and think like, oh man, I'm only throwing 58. Well, if you can locate, you can have success against the best hitters in the world, but it's owning that piece to the game and saying, I'm not a pitcher that's gonna throw 70 miles an hour. So how can I hone in on my craft and be great at that? And Burrows has continued to evolve, has added the knuckle change. Those little things keep adding up to make her better.
Aubrey Monroe pounds it foul. Monroe coming out of that vaunted program, University of Florida Gators. She's caught some wonderful pitchers over the years. A little bit high, 2-2. Interesting to note, we're talking about how there's a draft every single week, and Team Pendley selected Jessica Burrows in the 4th round. She actually was the 2nd pitcher picked. Taylor McQuillan was the first pitcher picked by the team, but she's not starting today. Nice play by the second baseman, Clifton. What's new? One of the best defenders in the world. There are now 2 outs in the 2nd inning.
And I think, too, it's all about strategy and thinking, okay, today if we're going to be playing a team that tends to have a little bit more righties, I'd rather save Pendley McQuillan for a team that has more lefties. So it's lefty dominant, because lefties tend to have a little bit more success, especially being able to snap that curveball off. So it really does come down to matching up, and every week it's evolving and changing, and that's what makes this so interesting, because you're going to continue to see these different matchups, but ultimately you're going to have to continue to keep evolving, because the hitting is the best that I've seen. And if you're asking my honest opinion, I think that the pitching, aside from a couple, it's going to be more hitting dominant. because they're going to get a lot of reps really quickly. So pitching's going to have to catch up in the sense of, okay, how am I going to be able to pitch backwards? What can I bring to the table that makes me a little bit different? Because these hitters, they're just too good. It's too good of a mix of athletes. So pitching's going to have to step it up in a different direction, and I don't know how that's going to happen, but I'm excited to see.
Jasmine Jackson takes inside. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wonderful eye. Jessica Burrows trying to get a 1-2-3 inning. Softly hit to Pendley, and Pendley can't make a play. Knew she had to hurry, and the slightest bobble allows Jackson to make it to first base. So a 2-out base runner for Team Wagner.
Can we just go back to that last play to Pendley? Something happened earlier in the game to Fagan, and as much as people think the turf gives you a clean hop,
Flipping foul pops out to Pendley.
sometimes I disagree.
Scoreless inning, the third's next. Athletes Unlimited Softball. This is opening day, the second of 2 games. Every time we turn on the lights, we've got 2 games for you. Saturday afternoons, Sunday afternoons, and Monday evening. 5 straight weeks of it. After a scoreless second inning, the potential team points roll over. And now this inning will be worth 20 points for everyone on the team whose team outscores the other. Top of the order, Nicole Dewitt. Right back to Wagner. So Dewitt 0 for 2.
The shortstop, number 12, Shelby Pendley.
With Danielle Laurie, I'm Eric Collins. Glad to have you with us. Daniel, one of the great things about this league is the international flavor of what we have. A lot of these women getting ready for Olympics next year. They're expecting to play this year. Of course, it got postponed and moved to 2021. But so many different countries represented. We've got players from Team Mexico, Canadian national team, of course, the United States national team, the Italian national team. Pretty cool.
And I mean, what a dagger that was and is, but I think that this league has been a blessing for that and has helped these athletes continue to stay motivated in the sense of I need to keep training, I need to keep putting hay in the barn, and now they get to go out and showcase that and continue to keep saying, like, we've still found a way to get better and play live games to help continue to prepare us for 2021.
Shelby Pendley keeps on keeping on. She's got a couple of base hits. Another single for Pendley with 1 out here in the 3rd inning. Yeah, these women committed to play in Tokyo next summer. Chidister, Kelsey Stewart, Hayden McClenny. Kat Hosterman was actually on the 2004 Olympic team. Was the youngest player in 04 when she won gold, and now by far the oldest player on the roster.
So full circle. And
she says they call her grandma.
As they should. But it's crazy to think that softball's been out of the Olympics and it will be 13 years. I mean, that's so sad for the youth that are aspiring to want to do that. And
nice play made by the 3rd baseman Sanchez. Try to turn 2 and they do! Oh, a double play turn, 5-4-3, and that'll end the inning, we think. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Team Pendley on top of Team Wagner by a score of 2-1. Let's take a look at our Carvana draft recap.
So my plan going into the draft was to first secure my catchers. As a pitcher, I wanted my catcher back there and somebody I was comfortable with. I was lucky enough to get one of them that I am and have a big group to choose from as well. Right off the bat, I wanted a defense that could also hit. So I went after the defensive players that had big bats and also with some speed in the outfield, and I got exactly what I needed.
And Haley Wagner had the opportunity to pick first because she accumulated the most points in the scrimmages before Wednesday's draft. Took Amanda Chidister, number 1, both Michigan Wolverines, and then Aubrey Monroe. Here's Megan Wiggins. Wiggins swung at the first pitch her first time up. Back in the first inning, bounced to second. Wiggins was an elite player as a college player at Georgia, and she's become exponentially better as a pro player. She is now 31 years of age, 9 years as a professional softball player. Smoked, just handcuffed Clifton. No chance. Leadoff single for Wiggins.
For designated player number 3, Samantha Howe.
And just left over the heart of the plate, and that's just going to continue to happen. These hitters are too good. If you go white, they're going to do some damage, and Clifton gave it her best effort there, but that was just a rocket off the bat. That would have been an exquisite play if she was able to come up with that.
Here's Samantha Howe. And she hammers that one fair. Extra bases down the left field line. Wiggins can still run. She's being waved around third, and she scores! We are tied at 2 after the RBI double by Samantha Howe.
47, Amanda Chidister.
Again, Danielle, they're swinging early in the count.
And that's what I'm saying. She's off the plate a little bit, but comes out hacking. And I think if I'm a pitcher, I gotta go change up first pitch or just change it up a little bit. And Wiggins turns it up that extra notch. She checks out the facilitator, Lauren Lappin, in the third base box, and she is waving her. Ton of speed. It's pretty impressive being able to score from first with a line shot to left field.
Chitty chitty bang bang. Amanda Chidister now in the batter's box. Cleanup hitter, struck out her first time up. Had to have been disappointed. Had 2 runners on and only 1 out and couldn't do anything. She'll try and atone here. Well, because of the run here, and because of the fact that there was no run scored in the second inning, Team Wagner has already assured themselves of winning the inning and winning the prior inning. So 20 points are going to go to the 14 women for Team Wagner. Four-pitch walk. Burrows wanted nothing to do with Chidister.
Especially when you're behind in the count like that. I pick my poison and I say, hey, we have a situation here to be able to get a force out.
Here's Amanda Sanchez. Reached on an error her first time up. On the ground, should be a pair. To second, on to first, double play. Wow, that was a big-time collision. Chidister and Shelby Pendley. And it's good to see a smile and a laugh because that was hardcore.
And that definitely knocks the wind out of you. And Clifton, little toss to Pendley. But at that point, you want to do everything you can to try to double up to get 2, and Pendley finishes that play. It just so happened that they collided. But at that point, the out means so much that there's no fear.
Yeah, no one throws harder and lower than Shelby Pendley. She's always been a submariner from shortstop. And I think Chidister, that registered, she knew that she was going to get low-bridged. So Howe now on at third, but 2 outs. Morgan Howe. 1 ball, 1 strike. Howe from Arizona State. Wraps it in the right field. Base hit for Howe and an RBI. Another run scores. That's the second of the inning. And for the first time in the game, Team Wagner leads Team Pendley.
Pretty piece of hitting. I would just say with Burrow, just leaving a little bit too much over the white of the plate. And I will say the umpire zone is a little bit tighter.
Urtez beats it out. That'll be another single for Team Wagner here in the 3rd inning. The beat continues. Really, the best thing that ever happened to Team Pendley was the double play, because besides that, it's been nothing but base hits and walks. Already 4 hits and a walk in the inning. Already a pair of runs have scored for Team Wagner.
For the catcher, Aubrey Monroe.
And now a pinch hitter. So the catcher spot, Aubrey Monroe, was up, hitting in the 8th spot in the lineup. And it's going to be Lily Piper grabbing a bat. Piper out of Ohio State. Piper actually has something in common with Nadia Taylor. We mentioned before that Nadia Taylor was a 2-sport athlete, played basketball at Texas. Piper was a 2-sport athlete, originally started her college experience at Akron in the Mid-American Conference, played basketball and softball there, and decided to transfer to Ohio State and just play softball. But she can do it athletically with the best of them. Off-speed pitch, popped in the air, right side, out of play.
I loved watching Lily Piper at Ohio State. I mean, an example of someone that can go into a program and make an impact right away. I mean, she was, aside from Sam Martyr, who caught for them, has been one of the only players that has been a 3-time All-American there. And she was only there for 3 years. So it just shows she's definitely been one of the best to ever be a Buckeye, represent that program.
Oh my goodness, that ball was up by her eyeballs, and it's going to be extra bases. 1 run's in. Here comes the other runner, and she will score with a slide. It is a 2-run double for Piper, and Team Wagner has exploded here in the 3rd inning. Howe scores, Urtez scores on the 2-run, 2-out double by Piper.
It's just a little tomahawk action. Are you kidding me? I will say the only thing that makes this doable is Burroughs doesn't throw 70 miles an hour. That is a hard pitch when it is upper 60s to hit, but Jess Burroughs throws low 60s, so it's a little bit easier to be able to get on time with that, but still absolutely picture perfect hitting. Wow.
So all of a sudden, just an offensive explosion for Team Wagner. Here in this inning, they have 5 hits, including a walk, and they have scored 4 runs and counting. So we're going to have a new pitcher come into the game. It is going to be McQuillan into the game. She replaces Jessica Burroughs. Next up on the F1 schedule is the Rolex Belgian Grand Prix at the legendary Spa circuit. 3-time champion Lewis Hamilton continues to dominate this season's drivers' standings. That's tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Here's Taylor McQuillan, who was drafted actually ahead of Jessica Burroughs. Team Pendley took her with their first pick, which is 3rd overall, yet she didn't get the start. Now she comes in with a runner on at 2nd and 2 outs. Jazmyn Jackson takes downstairs.
Taylor McQuillan, southpaw as well. Great movement. I will say there's not a lot of pitchers in this league that are going to blow it by you, but it is that movement that makes them so effective. Helped get Arizona to the Women's College World Series last year for the first time in over 10 years. So she's definitely that type of pitcher that can make a big time impact. Loves that curveball. Changeup's her best pitch.
Bouncing ball past Pendley. They will send Piper. The throw, not in time. Another run scored. A 5-run third inning.
The second baseman, number 19, Hannah Flippin.
And that's a great piece of hitting, especially because Jazmyn Jackson is that slapper. So she's pulling off that a little bit, but is still able to get that ball through the middle. And you see the speed of Lily Piper coming in hot after roping that double.
Well, Aspiration Bank has just committed to plant another 100 trees to drive environmental change because of another run scoring. Wow. Flippin hit it hard, but to the wrong person. Nicole Dewitt smothers it and makes the play. But major damage done. 5-run score. Perfect. And the offense for both sides starting to come around in both games that we played. We had a 14-run combined first game, won by Team Warren 11-3. And here in our game 2, it is already a 6-2 game. Team Wagner on top of Team Pendley, and we're only in the 4th inning. Here's Nadia Taylor. On the ground softly. Urtez rarely makes mistakes. Out number 1. Let's take a look at our Athletes Unlimited leaderboard presented by Geico. It's not just the scoreboard we're looking at, it's also the leaderboard. And there's a familiar name. The 37-year-old left-hander Kat Osterman has more points than anyone else in the field, 230. Jesse Warren, the captain for Team Warren, 180, as it should be. This is a unique scoring system centered around the athlete. And the way it was constructed was analysis of historical softball data that factors in running, pitching, hitting, team concepts.
And I think if you're like a stud pitcher that's going to pitch 2 out of these 3 games, for the viewers, you get 4 points for every single out that you record. So that can tally up on top of the fact that if you win an inning, you get 10, as well as 50 points if you win. So for me, I would want to be a pitcher in this league because I feel like it would truly benefit me if I can throw a good chunk of these games because, number 1, I got the confidence, and you got the confidence in the circle, you expect to get those outs. But that point system, if you give up that run, that's where you minus the 10, and that's where it can get you. If you have 5-6 runs you give up in an inning or in a game, the struggle can get real at that point. But Kat Osterman, her performance in Game 1 earlier today, didn't skip a beat. 8 Ks, only gave up 4 hits, no runs. She was a lot of fun to watch.
And Kat threw 86 pitches. Does that mean that she has potentially more out of her in the next couple of days?
I think so. I think tomorrow you wake up and see how you feel, and maybe if it's a closing type opportunity, you would never start her back to back. But I definitely think Game 3, she's someone that you would expect to go another 5 innings.
Here's team captain Nicole Pendley. Good snap of the mitt. 0-2. Aubrey Monroe, who was pinch hit for, back into the game for Team Wagner behind the dish, catching Wagner. Went too far. That's a strikeout, second one of the game for Wagner.
The second baseman, number 20, Haley Clinton.
And this curveball, not even close. This is middle of the opposite batter's box.
Here's Clifton trying to keep the inning alive. Now the weapon that Clifton has that is not recognized in the scoring system is getting hit with a pitch. She was legendary at Oklahoma for getting drilled. 65 times she got nailed as a college player. But that is not in the scoring system. All you get is a bruise and a base, but no points.
Yeah, the ones that set records with getting hit by pitches, I don't know, do you look back and tell your kids, well, I was the record holder for hit by pitches.
Well, it leads to winning. She won 2 championships as a college player.
It does, you're right, you're right.
Six to 2 is our score. Team Wagner on defense, they've got themselves the lead. The teams are named for the player who was the captain of the team, who drafted the team, and was eligible to draft the team by scoring the most points in the league in the week prior. So the top 4 point totals are the 4 captains, and no one scored more points during the scrimmages earlier this week than Haley Wagner. That's why she's the captain. High pop, medium left field, camping underneath it, making the play is Megan Wiggins. So a 1-out walk to Palacios does no damage. It's a lot of offense. Bottom of the 4th inning, already a 6-2 lead for Team Wagner. All right, 3rd time through the lineup for Team Wagner. Megan Wiggins, Samantha Howe, and Amanda Chidister. It's the first time they'll get a look at Taylor McQuillan, who came on to finish the 3rd inning. Smash, another base hit for Wiggins. For people who may have lost track of Megan Wiggins over the last couple of years, she is still elite.
First pitch, off speed. A little nervous if I'm Jake Wish all the way in. And I love this. I love the spray chart action. This is the 2019 season with the USSSA Pride. That's where they get that data from. So it's not like it's all her career at Georgia or anything like that. But Megan Wiggins, for me, is definitely one of those players that if I'm a captain, she's one of the first ones that I want to draft. The swagger that she brings to the table, but most importantly, the experience that she has. She's played on so many different levels. She's played over in Japan. And she's played in this U.S. Pro League, you said, for 9 years. So I think that definitely plays this fearless factor that I want on my team. So she's definitely someone that would be a top pick for me.
So she's got 40 points. She's got 2 singles, 10 points apiece. And her team has won 2 innings. Each inning one is 10 apiece, so that's 20 plus 20, that's 40. Remember, there's a whole bunch of points available later on. When you win a game, your team gets 50 points, every single person in your dugout. Of course, game MVPs, there's 3 of them get points as well. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Howe.
And I think for the fans that are watching, that remember Howe last year with the bat flips, that's what they want to know.
Is she still going to do it?
I think she will, and I think...
Ball gets away, and Wiggins is going to take an extra base.
I just think that's why this league's so fun, right? Like in college, at times it's frowned upon, like, oh, don't do this or don't do that because it's too much about you. But the swagger can come out here, and you can be you unapologetically, and I love that part of it. You want to bat flip, shout, bat flip all day. And then as a pitcher, if she's going to bat flip on you, what are you going to do?
Line drive over the head of Perez. Wiggins is going to score easily. Howe on her way into second. She'll make it with a slide.
The first baseman, number 47, Amanda
Back-to-back
Taylor.
doubles from Howe. I mean, she just takes this curve that kind of drops in on her hands a little bit, but is able to turn on that pitch so quick, lasers it over Perez's head in left field. Pretty piece of hitting.
Howe is now 3 for 3. 2 doubles and a single. Chidister, the batter. Maybe the most dangerous batter in the world today is hitless. 2 plate appearances, a swinging strikeout, and a 4-pitch walk.
I think what would be tough for me in this league is, say Team Wagner comes out and they dominate and Team Camaraderie's there and they're really feeling it, and then they don't get to play together, you know? So it's like, man, I feel like that's the team I want to play with, and that's what makes this so unique. It's just, it's ever changing, so you have to figure out what kind of works for you. But one thing I do know is team camaraderie is what we've always been taught. You know, good teams are the ones that usually win. It's not always the most talented. It's the ones that get along really well.
Pop up, stays in the field of play. Jaquish makes the out, and that's the first out of the inning.
The third baseman, number 22.
As well as you think about the facilitators too, right? Because they become attached to these teams. They're practicing with them before this happens, and then they're somewhat coaching them as much as they can. And then all of a sudden that changes for them too. So it's a different dynamic, not only for the players, but for the facilitators too.
Amanda Sanchez takes called strike one. Sanchez got doubled up her last time up. Really can't blame her. Hit the ball really hard, but Team Pendley able to turn two. Into center field, that'll get down. Howe being waved around third, and there'll be no throw. So another run scores for Team Wagner. RBI base hit for Sanchez.
The right fielder, number 74,
That's
Howe.
hit right back up the middle. A little off-speed curve, it looks like. I am kind of shocked at how good these hitters are doing, with this being, aside from scrimmages, the first time that they've played competitively where it really matters. So these hitters are showing no fear. And I think maybe one of these pitchers needs to be a little effectively wild. Hey, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, you got to show that at the end of the day, I'm the boss. And I think these hitters are the ones that are saying, no, we're the boss. So as a pitcher, it takes someone to just, hey, just whiff it over to the backstop. No runners on, just show, like, the effective wild piece sometimes you can use in your back pocket and just say, like, oh, God, where is she throwing this?
Here's Morgan Howe. Called strike one to Howe after the base hit a moment ago by Amanda Sanchez, a pinch runner inserted into the game for Team Wagner. It's one of the older players in the league, someone you're familiar with, Joey Lai. Pendley's gonna have to hurry, not in time. Safe at first base is Howe. Infield single.
The shortstop, number
And the
7,
beat continues. Runners on at first and at second, still just one out.
And I think this is just the best that you can do on this. There's speed with Howe coming up the line. And I feel like this turf bounces different. It just bounces a little bit different.
Ortez lays the bunt down. Flat out single. No play anywhere. Looked like she was going to be content to just lay down a sacrifice, but it's an infield single, and the bases are now loaded.
When they've changed this turf, which used to be that rubber, to more of like a wood chip flow to it. And I think that when you're so used to that rubber, you're used to that perfect hop at all times. And we've seen a couple of these players get kind of handcuffed or eaten up a little bit. Pendley has it short, and then Fagan in game one with plays where you're like, these are all-stars, and they make those plays. So I think it's just trying to get used to how it hops on this, because it is a little bit different than the everyday rubber turf.
And the field has actually changed color. If you had a really discerning eye in years past, you looked at this field, it had kind of a blackish hue. Always had the orange infield, but because of the black chopped up tires, it gave it a darker look. And now with the wood chips replacing the rubber tires as the fill, it's a much brighter feel. I actually like to look better, but if the hop is not as consistent, well, that's worth talking about. Lily Piper is back into the game, batting for a second consecutive inning. Let's take a look at how this field changed in the last couple of months. Really just amazing video to watch how they do things with these softball fields these days. Piper hammers it deep to left center. It's off the wall. 1 run will score, and that's it. Oh my goodness. All the way to the top of the wall with the bases loaded, and only 1 run scores.
Yet again, another long single. I mean, that was 5 inches from being a grand salami. Piper just gets her hands inside this curve on the inside part of the plate. And she's swinging a hot bat. And guess what? This was someone that was picked on the bottom end of the drafts.
Jazmyn Jackson deep to right field. Goal, no doubt about it, a grand slam home run. The first in league history. Jazmyn Jackson, how do you do? Not bad at all. An explosion of the offensive variety, a 7-run inning.
And Lily Piper tried hard, but Jazmyn Jackson tried harder and said, hey, I'll pick you up, girl. Let me hit this grand slam. Jeez, she turns on this. This thing is out of here and gets so much height on it right out of the bat. Team Wagner is feeling it.
Wow. So the home run makes it a 13-2 lead for Team Wagner. And for the second consecutive inning, Team Pendley's got to go to the pen.
I love it. I love the reactions. Everyone's trying to do air high fives because with this pandemic, you're not supposed to be constantly high fiving and stuff, but I love it. As soon as Jazmyn Jackson hits this, she just comes hot out of the gate right away, and she's not even looking, and Lily Piper has to say, hey, hold up, don't pass me.
So our first grand slam in league history spells the end of Taylor McQuillan. She leaves, and now the third pitcher of the afternoon, it's Carissa Hovingay.
A fellow Team Canada member, and someone who I think is good to bring in this moment. Down in the zone, primarily down, and that's what you need to this hot hitting Team Wagner, because clearly they're feeling it. Anything that's elevated or up in the zone, they're doing some damage. So I think for Hovingay to just come in and work that drop ball, try to just use the defense a little bit.
Off the thumbs, flipping, pops out to the second shortstop, Pendley. And that's just the second out of the inning. So in the third inning, Team Wagner sent 9 players to the plate. Here in the fourth inning, this is now batter number 10 of the inning. Megan Wiggins, who led off the inning with a single, will bat again. How about that? In the last probably 25 minutes, Megan Wiggins has had 3 at-bats against 3 different pitchers. Single against Burrows, single against McQuillan, and now a chance against Hovingay. Ball and 2 strikes. Well, because of the design of the league, there's still a lot on the line. Individually, there's points to be accrued for players on both sides. There's still innings to be won for players on both sides. Wiggins, foul. One of the few things that has gone wrong for her this afternoon. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Earlier today, a win for Team Warren. They scored 11 runs. And now already 13 runs for Team Wagner. "31-year-old Megan Wiggins."
And I like it. Havinga just going right at her. Hitting good spots.
Trying to get her team back in that dugout. It's been long 2 innings defensively for Team Pendley. Wiggins thought that was ball 4.
Another interesting dynamic is Palacios behind the dish plays with Team Mexico, yet she's catching a Team Canada pitcher. So it's just really figuring out what these different players throw, and then they have that in their back pocket.
Oh my! A.J. Andrews! She's got a Rawlings Gold Glove on her mantle back at home, and she's showing you why. No one covers more ground than A.J. Andrews in right field.
You get to hear from a Gold Glove winner and just little tips and tricks. I love it.
Yeah, but the last 4 years, there's only been one Gold Glove winner, one Rawlings Gold Glove winner announced in National Pro Fast Pitch every year. And in the very first year that it was handed out, it was given to A.J. Andrews, and with good reason. 2/3 of the world is covered by water, the other third is covered by her. She has got range like you dream about.
It was so cool getting to see her in that ESPN magazine, the body issue. Just seeing, she was in the middle of a desert laying out, and I mean, it was just beautiful, and it was a big moment for the softball sports world. Not only her winning that Gold Glove, but being part of those elite athletes that even get chosen to be in that magazine.
She's also got a podcast. I actually listened to it a couple of times this week. It's called Hard Headed with A.J. Andrews. She calls herself the hostess with the mostest. You can find it on Spotify. Mandy Perez strikes out, and that's out number 1 here in the 5th inning.
And I love it. And that's the thing. A.J. Andrews comes to play anytime that ball is coming near her. She wants to make those big, glamorous plays. She wants to make them look easy, and she does.
We should tell you there's a new pitcher in the circle. After giving 4 solid innings, Haley Wagner lifts herself. Remember, she's the team captain, and brings in Samantha Howe. Softly hit. Andrews bounces out to the first baseman. That's Amanda Sanchez, who moved over from 3rd to 1st here in this half inning.
And Sam Shaw's coming in and got 2 really quick outs. That fast change, curve, drop, rise combo. Mid to high 60s. Has really worked on that changeup, and said she lost that drop ball a little bit after graduating at Oklahoma State, so has been really working hard on trying to get that back. And I love it. You hear Chidi, I can hear up here. Nice pitch, Sam, but everything is about location. The pitchers that have gotten hurt today are the ones that miss over the heart of the plate. The ones that are continuing to just have success. Howe coming out and quick couple outs. I mean, is big for her squad after putting up 7 runs on the board, but to be able to hit good spots is key for pitchers.
It's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Howe. Good work. She gets Dewitt to bounce out to the second baseman. With Danielle Laurie, I'm Eric Collins. Team Wagner has batted around each of the last 2 innings. Obviously super early, Danielle. First day of what's going to be a 30-game season, but it looks like offense is not going to be at a premium. Looks like these hitters are going to have a chance to do some real damage here in this ballpark and in this league.
I could not agree more with you. I think for pitching, it's really going to come down to getting in that groove and figuring out different ways to pitch to these hitters, because they've shown from today they're coming out hacking with that no fear mentality. And the pitching for me has kind of not looked as sharp. Aside from, obviously, I thought O'Toole looked great. I thought Osterman looked great. But I think the more pitchers can just focus solely on the location piece. I've seen a lot of misses over the plate, but I'll also throw you a bone and say you haven't thrown live, aside from a couple scrimmages last week. So you'd hope that they can kind of catch up to speed on things. But like I said to you earlier, it's usually the opposite. Pitchers come out and just absolutely dominate, especially in MLB spring training, and the hitters take a bit to catch up.
Straight up in the air to center field. Nicole Pendley makes the play, and on one pitch, Amanda Chidister is retired. How is it possible that Team Wagner has 13 runs in 5 innings, and Amanda Chidister in that number 4 hole has not
out of this offer, but have a whole heck of a lot of points. So it's number one, you got to have a short-term memory in this league, because it is forever changing. You're going to struggle. You're going to have days where you don't feel good. But if you are a part of that team that is capable of winning every inning, winning every game, it's still going to put you in a position to be high up on the leaderboard. But I think the short-term memory loss for the pitchers is extremely important, because it can be easy to come into a game, for instance, last game, and Hennigan came in and she struggled and didn't even make it out of the inning. Is that going to be something that affects her going into tomorrow? Or will she have that short-term memory and be like, shut the door on that?
Here's Joey Lai. And she's one of the great stories here for Athletes Unlimited. 33 years of age. Was recently the head coach at Bucknell and actually gave that up because she still got a Jones for the game of softball. Going to play here in Athletes Unlimited this summer, and then she's part of the national program up in Canada.
Well, and to think, too, that a player like Joey has been playing since 2009 with Team Canada and has yet to go to an Olympic Games. So I think that fire that burns inside of her to say, man, I got to give it another shot. And
hit well to right field. Andrews goes back, can't make the play. Off her glove, bounces along that warning track, and Lai on her way to third. They're going to wave her, and now a late stop sign, and that's a good decision. She would have been a dead duck. Wow, that's going to be interesting to see how that's ruled, because if that's a triple, that's big for Lai. She gets 30 points. If it's ruled in error, she gets nothing.
And that's what's hard, I think, sometimes when you're running into that fence trying to see where you're going to land. And Lai knows she misses it, turns up the speed a notch or two, and finds a facilitator Lappin, who kind of held her up. It looked like she was rounding her, and she was lucky to get back, because you're right, she would have been toast at home.
They rule it a triple. So Lai is thrilled. She gets 30 points for that, and she could actually get more points if she scores a run. There are inning points on the line. Remember, Team Pendley did not score in the top of this frame. So if a run scores here, it'll be 10 more points for not only Lai, but everyone on Team Wagner. So in essence, what she just did could possibly give her 40 points.
And you know what I love, Eric, is a player like Lily Piper and a player like Joey Lai that have gone super low in the draft. And you know what I mean? No one likes to be picked close to last.
Yep.
But they are the prime examples of who cares? I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you what I'm made of. And Piper looking at her day now, she's playing at third, and Joey Lai coming out and getting a triple right off the bat.
Yeah, Lai was picked 49th. In total, 52 players are picked. You get your 4 captains, and they picked 52 players. So she was picked 49th. But, you know, then again, these are elite athletes. You know, they don't take rejection and disappointment like regular human beings do. It's fuel.
Well, and there's still an unknown, right? Not a lot of these players know Joey Lai. She's been with Team Canada, but she hasn't played much. She played last season in the MPF with the Canadian Wild, but she's a wild card because you don't know what she brings to the table. So it's hard for me to invest in you in the top 3 rounds if I don't know exactly what you're bringing to my table. So I think, yeah, you're drafted low, but when you do something like she just did, I got to choose her higher up.
Let's take a look at our Geico Defensive Player of the Game. Take you back to the third inning, Danielle Laurie.
I mean, no big deal. I love that they got the time on here. 4-6-3 double play.
It's one of the great things about fast pitch is it's not just the pitches that are fast. Everything is fast. New pitcher, Kamalani Dung, checks into the game. She is the third pitcher. We saw Haley Wagner, Samantha Howe for an inning, and now Dung. Played for the Cal Bears. She is a native of Hawaii. On the ground, that'll sneak through. Shelby Pendley's had a day. Shelby Pendley is 3 for 3 with a bat in her hand.
Shelby Pendley is so good, you guys. She's up there with, I'd want her on my team too. I mean, there's a lot of them I'd want on my team, but experience is invaluable, right? So when you think about everything that she's had to go through, a player like Kat, a player like Megan Wiggins, like all of these women that have been training and playing for so long after college, I'd want them high up.
Jaquish hammers this one deep right center field. Going back is Jackson. It is gone. Over the wall. 2-run homer. Savannah Jaquish. And Team Pendley. Couple of scratches. I think the wind is blowing out a bit to right field because that ball just carried. Welcome to the game, Kamalani Dung. Line drive single by Pendley, and now a homer by Jaquish.
Well, and yet again, a prime example of these hitters just going after it right away. I mean, no fear out of the gate. New pitcher, who cares? Jaquish, sweet little swing. This thing gets out of here quick.
Here's Nadia Taylor. She's put the ball in play twice, nothing to show for it. Nadia, a ground out to third and a ground out to short. A lot of these women are wearing unfamiliar numbers, but Nadia is not. She's been wearing 88 for a long time. Started back at the University of Texas. Her number is 8, but if you go to Texas after Kat Osterman and you want number 8, you're not going to get it. So she said, you know what, what's better than 8? How about 2 8s? So that's why she's 88. She's been that as a pro everywhere she's been. Smoked to left field, and the wind just knocks it down. We told you the wind is coming the other way, and it's pushing it out to right field, but it's knocking it down when you hit it to left. Nadia Taylor hit that a lot harder than it actually went. So that's the first out in the 6th inning. Here's Palacios. Sachel has not been retired. RBI single in the 1st inning, and then a walk in the 4th.
I'm getting the opportunity to talk with Dung just about coming into this league and what she's going to bring a little different than when she was in college. She said she really worked on that drop ball. Angelica Selden, that Cal, was her pitching coach, and said she's really worked on that pitch to add that to her repertoire for this league. And that's the thing. As a pitcher, you have to continuously reinvent yourself, whether that's learning a new pitch, whether that's constantly pitching backwards to hitters. There's so many different things that you can bring to the table to have success. But I love that even at her age, to be able to say, hey, I can learn a new pitch and bring something different to just give myself a better chance to have success in this league, because hitting is pretty dominant here, I think, more than anything. Pitching is great, but I think the hitting is a little bit greater.
Dung walks Palacios, a one-up base runner. Well, we're just getting started. We mentioned this is the first of what will be a 30-game season. This is the first of it will be 3 consecutive days this weekend where we play Athletes Unlimited Softball. Tomorrow will come your way at 1 Eastern time on ESPNU. That'll be followed by our Game 2 at 4 Eastern time on ESPNU. So we have games Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and then we will finish it off with games on Monday evening. And that'll be the case for 5 straight weeks. Long weekend of softball through the month of September. Here's team captain Nicole Pendley.
That's a lot of quality time you and me are getting.
I guess so.
I know you're pretty excited about that.
I'm gonna have to switch up my my clothes selection because you're gonna notice when I'm wearing the same thing twice. Into left field, medium deep. And the play is made. Megan Wiggins. 2 down.
The second baseman, number 20, Taylor Clifton.
And I love the trend with Team Pendley, with all the OU history here. We got Clifton, and we got the Pendley sisters.
Now, I shortchanged Kaylee Clifton before. I said, you know what, she's out of luck. One of her specialties as a college player was getting hit with pitches. She set an OU record for getting doinked 65 times. And you do get points for that in this league. That's one of the fine print rules there. You get 10 points if you're hit with a pitch. So more power to you.
I wonder what happens if you intentionally try to hit someone because they intentionally try to get doinked. You know what I mean? Does a pitcher minus points if you intentionally stick that bow out? Your next AB, well, I'll really show you what it's like. And I know these pitchers have that same attitude. It's not just me up in the booth. Kat would lose it if someone's trying to intentionally get hit off of her.
Speaking of Kat, Danielle, after we've seen a full day of softball here for the Athletes Unlimited, what Kat did in our first game, how impressive was it looking back at it now? At the time, we thought it was pretty cool. But looking back at it now, after all of this offense from every other team and every other pitcher being hit, you know, Kat wasn't. Kat was her normal self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Kat is a different specimen in this game, and what she brings to the table, not only the experience piece, but her pitches haven't changed. Maybe she doesn't throw as hard as she did, but the ball still breaks and moves to the caliber that it has in the past. I think for her, the difference is just game reps, game reps, game reps. The more you can get that under your chest, you just start to feel a little bit more confident every single outing, because it's like, oh, well, I've you know, pitched to the best. I've gotten 50, 60, 70 innings under my belt. So what she was able to do today was pretty outstanding, especially game 1 on TV, right out of the bat. Inaugural game of this Athletes Unlimited, pretty special. I would want no one else out there but Kat.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 6th inning, already a pair of runs in for Team Pendley. Lifted in the air, right field, dealing with the sun. Catch is made by Morgan Howe. On the line, because Team Pendley scored 2 runs in the top of the 6th inning, unless Team Wagner can beat that, everyone on Team Pendley will get 10 points. Points are a big deal here with Athletes Unlimited. Jordan Roberts is the batter. It's our first look at Jordan Roberts. Catcher out of the University of Florida. Getting an opportunity here with her team up by 9. Right now she's effectively the backup catcher on the roster. Things change not only game to game, but obviously week by week, whichever team you're on. So we'll see if that's the case tomorrow and next week.
And this is really her first pro experience. I mean, she was a senior at Florida last year, and then that pandemic happened and she didn't get to finish out her senior year. It's the first time she's putting on a pro uniform, so I'm sure there's definitely some nerves that come with that. And then I guess you can also sit up here and say ignorance is bliss, right? Like, she doesn't know, and that's the beauty of it. Sometimes when you come right into it, there's no expectation for how I'm supposed to do because I'm the young rookie. So if I do great, it's awesome. But if I don't do great, it's not like anyone's expecting me to do anything crazy either.
Healthy swing. If you get a flinch from Lauren Lappin, you're doing something.
And I think it's important to just talk about Hovinge coming in. She's going on pitch 30, but zero's up last inning, especially after those, you know, the 5 spot, then the 7 spot, but she was able to come in and kind of shut it down a little bit, keeping that ball down in the zone, found the strike zone quick.
A little desperation hack there. That was going to be a strike, and Roberts needed to take a last-minute swing to stay alive. Now Hovinge in the circle is an American by birth. She's from Omaha, Nebraska, but she's got dual citizenship, and that's how she's going to get an opportunity to play for Team Canada. Deep research telling me that her mom was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta. Have you ever been?
I have. It's rather cold there in the winter, and I'm not much of a snowbird. So, but it is beautiful there.
Good battle here, Jordan Roberts. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Deep to left field. Welcome to professional fast pitch, Jordan Roberts. This game's easy. Her first pro at bat results in a homer. A titanic shot. Pretty cool moment.
I mean, I have like goosebumps for that. Not only the fact that she is a rookie, but her first at bat. You see where Palacios is set up. She misses over the middle of the plate. See you later. So many good feels for Jordan Roberts. I love this slow-mo. Just gives you a good insight to what it looks like coming from Roberts' view. But if you don't get goosebumps in a moment like that, as a rookie, you're picked pretty much last in the draft, and you come up and go yard, that's big.
Well, something about those Florida Gators in their first pro at bat. There's a home run by Jordan Roberts in the first pro at bat she's ever had. A couple of years ago for Nicole Dewitt. Nicole Dewitt was playing in National Pro Fast Pitch action, and her first at bat resulted in a home run. She played 2 seasons in the NPF and didn't hit another home run, but she got one her first go-around.
Let's get Tim Walton. Let's call him in and get him in on here on the call and figure out what's the secret. Or we can get Francesca Nea. She'd be another one to get in here and get the Gator scoop.
Francesca Nea, there was never a big moment where she did not deliver. Big fan.
She's one of the best ones, and I know she's watching. So
she
Franny,
was an RBI waiting to happen.
One of the best ones out there.
That's one of the really neat things about the women's game is there's now this huge body of work, and we can talk about the history of the game. You know, it's not just Debbie Doom and Lisa Ishikawa. You know, it's now we've got 30 years of high-level women playing, and the names and the conferences and the programs, and there's legends. And it's just it's fantastic the way that this game has grown over the years.
And it makes it even more bittersweet that the Olympics are back for that reason. And that's why you're just praying that everything works out and it can happen. Because there's just so many great ones that have been training their tails off for moments like that, right?
Just a terrible mistake was made when softball was taken out of the Olympics after 08. Just unfathomable, the decision that was made. But the good news is it's back. And we will see it in Tokyo in 2021. Fingers crossed.
You're going to be rooting for Team Canada a bit, just because we're buds now?
When you're pitching a whole full throat, no doubt about it.
Okay, I'm holding you to it.
Piper pops it up right side, looking into the sun. Andrews makes the play.
The center fielder, number 40.
And that's clearly the sun field that A.J. Andrews is looking up into. All right, Jazmyn Jackson has been a force out of the number 9 hole. She has already got 90 points. She is our offensive player, brought to you by AstroTurf. Jazmyn Jackson, all access.
Side me? Cop out. Dude, I was like, either she's gonna throw a changeup or she's gonna throw something that I can tap. Get it, you win! Can we? No, okay. Never had to do that before. I don't really. I was kind of, every time I take off my helmet, I'm a little worried. But it's pretty tightly secured. Put your helmet back on.
Beat continues for Jazmyn Jackson. She gets herself a bunt single and puts 10 more points next to her name. I think that's going to be something that's going to be fantastic for us to get the personalities of these athletes throughout the course of these next 5 weeks.
Well, and I love when you get to just hear them talk game, of her saying, well, I was thinking she was coming change up and this and that, just tapping into their mindset when they're stepping into the batter's box. But what she just did is unfair. You go yard, grand slam, and then you drop the bunt.
Ball gets away from Pendley, and that's going to allow Jazmyn to take an extra base. She bluffed as if she was going to steal, and that coaxed a throw down to second, and the throw gets away, and so that'll be scored an error on the catcher, Palacios. That's one of the things that may be an issue this opening weekend, and I'm not the expert, Danielle Laurie, but these women have not played competitively in a while, and now you're playing with different teams and different teammates. Defensively, knowing where everyone's supposed to be and what you're supposed to do at every single moment, I think may take a while to come back.
Yeah, but the communication piece is key. You have to be able to continuously communicate whether who's taking what on first and thirds, who's cutting off here, and that's why those practice days prior to or leading up to this, are so important to be able to get on the same page with that.
Into right field, flipping gets herself a base hit. Jackson being waved around third, she'll score standing, and because the throw comes in towards home plate, it allows Flippin to take an extra bag.
Next up, the left fielder, number 25, Megan Wiggins.
Drop ball miss. I think if that gets on the corner, it's going to be a little bit more effective, but you see that downward rotation on the seams. Flippin stays with it, just kind of chops this to right field.
And once again, that's going to take money out of the pockets of the people from Team Pendley, because they thought they had this inning won. They scored 2 times in the top of the inning. You get 10 points for every inning you win. But already 2 runs have scored for Team Wagner, and they're looking to build on it. So if anything, the points will roll over, but possibly the points are going to go to Team Wagner because of the offense they put up here in the bottom half of the inning.
And I know I don't get a say in the MVP, but my vote would be for Jackson. We don't get a say up here in the booth, but we can at least state our opinion.
I'm not going to argue with you just for the sake of argument, but I like Samantha Howe too. She had hits her first 3 times up. She had a couple of doubles. She scored 2 runs, and she pitched a scoreless 1-2-3 inning.
The two-way players sometimes have that advantage, Eric. But you can't punish the ones that can't pitch.
So at the end of the game, when all the points are divvied up, there is going to be a vote. And it's the players who vote. And they decide amongst themselves who was the number 1 MVP. They get 60 points. The number 2 MVP is 40, and then third is 20. So that's yet another scoring option. Wiggins drives it deep to right field, and it's gone again! Another homer for Team Wagner. This time it's Megan Wiggins. I'm smiling here in the booth because Megan Wiggins has still got it going. 31 years of age, and she is elite.
Number 3, Samantha Howe.
I don't know what's in the water for Team Wagner, but sweet little stroke. Just turns on this, gets out of here real quick. And for pitchers that are watching, I mean, it is key to be able to hit good spots. Doesn't matter how hard you throw, but if any little miss to these elite hitters, they capitalize. So I think the importance of, man, if I got to hit you by bringing it in so tight, I would rather that than the mistake of missing over the plate for someone to go yard.
All right, this may make a difference in your prediction of Jazmyn Jackson winning MVP. Samantha Howe's got a bat in her hands. If she does some damage here, she's going to put some pressure on that decision. Danielle Laurie. Drill to center field. This one's got a chance. It's gone! Howe has done it. Put 40 more points next to her name.
Come on. It's like you called that.
It's
I think you called that.
It's almost as if I did.
Holy smokes. Holy Howe. I was looking at you when you said that. I didn't even know she did the bat flip. This will tell. Nope.
No.
But
we got to work on that.
Whew, a first one for her. I think when she gets more confident with the home runs, we'll be tomahawking that bat. But holy smokes.
40-point home run for Howe, and then maybe all for Hovingay. Oh, I think she's going to take one for the team. This player conference set of the Diamond is presented by Mariner Wealth Advisors. Yeah, this is tough. This is one of the tough things with all this offense being scored. For Hovingay, she's just basically having to wear it. Every earned run is negative points. And because her team is not getting a lot of inning points, she is going to be in the negatives at the end of the game. It's pro sports. You don't know what you're going to get.
You got to have a short-term memory, and that is the hardest part about being a pitcher. You can go 0 for 4 as a hitter, and it's one thing, but going in the circle and home runs and just not being able to, find your groove can rattle you. So I think for the pitcher, short-term memory is key.
And somehow Amanda Chidister still hasn't done anything. She's batting 0 for 3 in the day. Here's the leaderboard brought to you by Geico, and Samantha Howe has taken a 32-point lead on Jazmyn Jackson. This is before all of the inning points and the win points and the MVP points have been tallied.
I think you guys were communicating or something in the dugout up to here saying she was going to go yard. But I'd have to agree. I'm switching my vote. Still some game left.
Chitty, chitty, bang, bang, a whole bunch of nothing. 0 for 4, Amanda Chidister bounces out to Nicole Dewitt.
The second baseman, number 24, Joey Lai.
And we all know that phrase in Finding Nemo, just keeps swimming, just keeps swinging, Chitty. I mean, it's bound to happen sooner or later.
Every participant in Athletes Unlimited is bringing attention to a cause that matters to them. Go to auprosports.com/mission to learn more. Samantha Howe, 4 for 5, 3 extra base hits, and oh yes, a scoreless 1-2-3 inning in the circle. Here's Joey Lai, the former head coach at Bucknell. She was actually, you know this, her teammate with Team Canada, but she played 2 sports as a college player. She was a hockey player as well as a softball player.
If that isn't as Canadian as it comes. I love it. Joey is one of my all-time favorite players that I've played with. I haven't seen someone work as hard as Joey Lai in a long time, and I love that she's playing in this league and the opportunity was there for her. You have a couple Team Canada squaring off. Hovey and Joey know each other well. That's the hard part about this league. When you're teammates, it definitely makes that connection pitcher-hitter a little bit more uncomfortable.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Lai. took something off, and Lai able to spoil it. (18-4) is our score. Lai hits this one in the air into the gap in right center field. A.J. Andrews runs it down. Game one was 11-3, a win for Team Warren over Team Fagan. And right now, heading into the 7th and final inning, it is an 18-4 lead for Team Wagner over Team Pendley. Emily Crane going to get an opportunity, former Missouri Tiger. Crane skies this one in the air off Kamalani Dung, center fielder. Making the catch, Jazmyn Jackson.
Well, let's not forget, if they're not able to score here, then the game will be done. They won't have to go play out the bottom of the 7th. Team Wagner will automatically be allotted those rollover points, and then the game will be done. But if they do score, it is a mandatory go into the bottom of the 7th inning.
Here's A.J. Andrews, 0 for 2.
So much good coming out of today, though. I mean, Andrews' amazing catch, Kat Osterman's performance from earlier. Jordan Roberts gives me the goosebumps on a rookie first AB home run. You have Lily Piper, who's been drafted last a lot, coming up and just being absolutely dominant.
Wasn't in the original starting lineup and came off the bench and has had a productive day with a 2-run double and a RBI single. Maybe earning respect among her peers and will no longer be drafted in the bottom tier next week. Yeah, the proof's in the pudding. All of these women are going to get to know each other and understand where they are at this point in their careers. Not necessarily someone who came out of the Mid-American Conference or the Big Ten or some other conference that maybe someone's turning their nose at. Now these women are all on equal level. They're playing professional ball here on the same field, on the same days, same condition. And whoever's performing is going to get picked higher on a week-to-week basis when they have the redraft every week.
Well, and I love that part about it because it's not like that for women's sports usually. If you perform, like, you get this extra swagger, like, yeah, I'm the best. And that's good to feel that way, and it's okay to feel that way. And I can't express that enough, that, geez Louise, we as women athletes put so much into our craft that now they've been given a platform to utilize it. Not only does it matter with, the team structure and you want to win in innings, but at the end of the day, I mean, Howe going deep, that's 40 points for me, baby. So that's important to be able to use that to your advantage. And I love that they can express themselves that way. If they want to get all rowdy and this and that, do it.
We're going to do it again tomorrow. We're going to come your way starting at 1 Eastern time on ESPNU, and that'll be the first of a pair. We'll also do a game at 4 o'clock on ESPNU as well. So wall to wall tomorrow afternoon on ESPNU, day 2 of Athletes Unlimited Softball. Nicole Dewitt, the last hope for Team Pendley. DeWitt's put the ball in play 3 times, hasn't got it out of the infield. It's 0 for 3. Dung trying to go 1-2-3. Quality strike at the knees, 2-2.
And I wonder if with this league it's going to be at times, aside from maybe a couple stallions, if it's a little bit more pitch by committee. Like, all right, I'm going to allot you these 4 innings. Go and see if you can get 4 through 4 unscathed, and then switch it up.
That's going to do it for a long day of softball here from Parkway Bank Sports Complex in Rosemont, Illinois. Kamalani Dung strikes out the last 2 batters. She faces Andrews and DeWitt, and it's in the books. It's a final 18-4, the win for Team Wagner.
And what a day. I mean, I've got goosebumps, I've got laughs, I've had fun, and I cannot wait to do 28 more games with you.